My Creative Story by the students of Hwado Middle School. The 11th Curse. One day, Sungchan playfully took his friend's pencil case and then returned it with a mischievous grin. His friend, startled, looked at Sungchan with wide eyes and exclaimed, "Sungchan, I'm going to curse your dreams." But Sungchan, still smiling mischievously, replied, "If my dreams are cursed, maybe I'll have even more exciting adventures in my nightmares." With that, Sungchan playfully took another friend's item. This time, Sungchan took a friend's notebook. His friend, with a more serious expression, shouted, "Sungchan, this time I'll curse your luck." However, Sungchan, still grinning, answered, "If my luck is cursed, I can just enjoy some delicious ice cream instead of winning the lottery." Despite the warnings, Sungchan didn't stop his playful antics. For the third time, Sungchan took a friend's book. His friend, unable to hold back any longer, yelled, "Sungchan, this time I'll curse your health." But even then, Sungchan calmly smiled and said, "If my health is cursed, I guess I can just rest in bed." And once again, he continued with his pranks. One day, Sungchan didn't show up at school for a week. His friends were worried, but when Sungchan finally returned, he continued his mischievous habit of taking his friends' belongings. Exhausted, one of his friends muttered to himself, "No matter how many curses I cast, they don't seem to work." What kind of curse would actually work on Sungchan? Even after 10 curses, Sungchan brushed them off without a care. His friend finally prepared the 11th curse and went looking for Sungchan. But this time, Sungchan was nowhere to be found. Hearing rumors that he was moving to a new school, his friend suddenly felt a bittersweet smile form on his lips. "Sungchan, where have you gone?" His friend stood there, lost in thought. And then it dawned on him. Sungchan's pranks weren't born out of malice. They were simply a way for him to share more laughs with his friends. With a smile, his friend hugged the pencil case tightly. "Sungchan, those pranks we shared, I actually enjoyed them a lot too. I miss you." The last curse he had prepared was no longer needed. The precious memories of those times remained beautifully in his heart. Sophie's Time Travel Adventure. In the year 2024, there was a girl named Sophie. One night, after staying late at school to study hard, Sophie went to the restroom. There, she noticed something strange. A light was shining from the last stall. What could that be? Curious, Sophie cautiously approached the stall. When she opened the door, she found the toilet gleaming as if it were a machine from the future. Attached to the toilet was a mysterious panel that allowed you to set a date. Intrigued, Sophie reached out to touch the machine, but she accidentally pressed the date 1957. In that instant, a bright light flashed, and Sophie was sucked into the toilet. When Sophie opened her eyes, she found herself lying on an unfamiliar street. "Where am I?" she wondered as she got up. Looking around, she saw that people were in the middle of filming a movie. To her amazement, there was none other than Marilyn Monroe. Sophie was shocked and quickly checked her watch. It really was 1957. Although she was initially confused, Sophie was thrilled at the thought of seeing Marilyn Monroe in person. She pushed through the crowd and started watching the filming up close. Marilyn Monroe was performing magnificently, and Sophie watched the scene with sparkling eyes. However, Sophie soon remembered that she needed to return home. Fortunately, there was a public restroom nearby, and Sophie hurried to it. When she entered the last stall in the restroom, she found another glowing toilet. Relieved, Sophie set the date on the toilet to 2024. When she opened her eyes again, Sophie was back in her school restroom. Was that all just a dream? Sophie chuckled to herself. Whether it was a dream or not, Sophie knew she would never forget her encounter with Marilyn Monroe. From that day on, Sophie treasured each day, always expecting that a new adventure could begin at any moment. The Lonely Mushroom in the Silent Forest. My name is Poison Mushroom, but in reality, I'm not poisonous at all. However, because my name is Poisonous Mushroom, the animal friends in the forest avoid me. There are many mushrooms like me in the forest where I live, but there is one mushroom that all the animal friends flock to. Its name is simply mushroom. Ironically, that mushroom is the one that truly carries poison. The animal friends would happily play and laugh around that mushroom. They trusted it, and it seemed to enjoy being around them. Watching from a distance, I felt even more alone. I wish I could make friends like that, I thought every night, haunted by the loneliness. But as time passed, something strange began to happen. The animal friends who tasted that mushroom started to get sick, one by one. At first, no one knew why. But eventually, it became clear that the mushroom's poison was slowly leading the animal friends to their demise. The animals either left the forest or died, one after another. And eventually, the poisonous mushroom itself was slowly eaten away by the animals until it completely disappeared. Now, no laughter or footsteps can be heard in the forest. Everything has become quiet. I'm still here, but everything around me is empty. The loneliness has deepened within me. I wasn't poisonous, but no one knew that. And they disappeared without ever realizing what the real danger was. The forest remains silent. I swallow my longing and sadness, waiting for the day when a true friend might finally come to me. The forest remains silent. I swallow my longing and sadness, waiting for the day when a true friend might finally come to me. Show in the True Friendship. Once upon a time, there was a little shrimp named Show. Show always walked with a curved back, which made him look very cute, but strange. Show was lonely. He didn't have any friends, so he was always alone. One day, Show made a decision. He would go on a journey to find a friend. The first place he arrived at was a green field. There, he met a rabbit with perky ears. Show happily said, "Hello, what's your name?" The rabbit replied, "I'm Toya, but I'm a bit busy right now, so let's talk later." Although the first encounter was disappointing, Show thought it was okay and moved on to the next place. Next, he arrived at a big amusement park. There, Show met a dog and a hamster. "Hello, what are your names?" Show asked. The hamster, sounding annoyed, said, "Let's talk later." But the dog, named Mongi, was a bit different. "I'm Mongi. What about you? Sho answered with hope. I'm Sho. Would you like to be my friend? Mongi thought for a moment, then shook his head and said, Sorry, Sho, but your back is too bent. Hearing that, Sho was hurt. He realized why none of the other animals had wanted to play with him all along. I must be useless, Sho muttered to himself sadly. Just then, a cat approached from somewhere. What are you talking about, Sho? How can you say you're useless? The cat was from the same neighborhood as Sho. You know me? Sho asked in surprise. The cat smiled and replied, Of course. You would make a great friend. I'll be your friend. With tears welling up in his eyes, Sho asked joyfully, Really? Will you really be my friend? The cat nodded kindly. Of course, Sho. I want to be your friend. From that day on, Sho and the cat became the best of friends. They listened to each other's stories and supported each other through tough times, sharing a true friendship. Sho was no longer lonely. He had found a real friend. And that friend liked Sho just the way he was, curved back and all. The Tyrant Princess and the Gentle Heart. Once upon a time, in a kingdom far, far away, there lived an ordinary young man named Namju. Namju worked hard every day and lived a quiet life. However, there was a rumor in the kingdom about a terrifying princess known as the Tyrant Princess. People feared her because she was said to be extremely strict and cold. One day, while Namju was working as usual, he heard the villagers murmuring in alarm. The Tyrant Princess has fallen into the well, they said. Startled, Namju rushed to the well. Inside, the princess was struggling, having fallen into the water. Without hesitation, Namju bravely jumped into the well and rescued the princess. The princess was shocked, but grateful. Thank you. My name is Yeoju. If you ever have time, feel free to visit me, she said with a warm smile. It seemed like the first time anyone had seen Yeoju smile. After that, Namju occasionally visited Yeoju's room. They quickly became friends, and Yeoju stopped being angry. The once feared tyrant princess grew softer with each passing day. Yeoju and Namju would go on walks together and share stories, enjoying each other's company. One day, while they were out for a walk, they discovered a beautiful flower. Yeoju found it so lovely that she picked it and gave it to Namju. But the moment Namju accepted the flower, he suddenly collapsed. Yeoju, horrified, fell to the ground in shock. It turned out that Namju and Yeoju were from different species. And while Yeoju's kind was immune to the flower's poison, Namju was not. A few days later, Namju slowly woke up, but a flower had bloomed in one of his eyes. Yeoju, overwhelmed with guilt, wept and said, "I'm so sorry. It's all my fault." But Namju looked at her and smiled gently. "It's okay. Let's just continue as we always have." However, as time passed, Namju's condition worsened. Eventually, he could no longer get out of bed and had to stay there, growing weaker by the day. On one of those days, using the last of his strength, Namju spoke to Yeoju. "You're the first person who stayed by my side until the end." With a smile, Namju closed his eyes for the last time. Yeoju watched over Namju's final moments, tears streaming down her face. "Because of you, I was able to shed the name of the tyrant princess. You made me a better person. I'll never forget you," she said, crying. From that day on, Yeoju remembered Namju and his kind heart, and she gradually transformed into a warm and compassionate princess. The people no longer feared Yeoju, and the kingdom lived on in peace. And Yeoju always cherished the memory of Namju, keeping his memory close to her heart. Okay Alone, a special time with a tiny friend. Today, both Mom and Dad went out. Left alone at home, I felt a bit scared. My friends said they like being alone, but when I'm home alone, strange noises make me uneasy, and I always feel like someone is there. So I tried to calm myself by watching TV. Just then, I heard a small noise coming from the drawer. Startled, I opened it and found a cute hamster inside. The hamster was so adorable that I decided to take care of it. However, the hamster started to look a bit weak, so I made sure to keep it warm and took good care of it. As time passed, the hamster gradually regained its energy, and I began to feel much more at ease. Being alone no longer seemed so scary. Thanks to the time I spent with the hamster, I no longer felt lonely or afraid. When Mom and Dad returned home, they were surprised to see that I hadn't complained at all. A delicious love triangle: dumpling, steamed bun, and hotdog. One day, in a land where delicious foods lived in harmony, there were 3 peaceful villages: Dumpling Village, Steamed Bun Village, and Hotdog Village. Dumpling, a resident of Dumpling Village, was starting to feel a bit bored with his life there. He wanted to explore other villages. So one day, he decided to visit Steamed Bun Village. Upon arriving, Dumpling met a beautiful steamed bun. The moment he saw her, Dumpling fell in love at first sight. But there was a problem. Steamed Bun was already in a relationship with Hotdog. Steamed Bun, aware of Dumpling's feelings, politely declined his affection, saying, "I'm sorry, but I'm already with Hotdog." However, Dumpling was determined not to give up. He transformed into a steamed dumpling, hoping to appear more impressive. When that wasn't enough, he kept changing, becoming a meat dumpling, then a kimchi dumpling, trying to win Steamed Bun's heart. As Dumpling continued his efforts, Steamed Bun's heart began to waver. Hotdog noticed this change and grew concerned. He knew he couldn't just sit by and do nothing. So he transformed into a vegetable-filled hotdog to enhance his charm. He then appeared before Steamed Bun, saying, "I can change too." At that moment, Dumpling returned, having transformed into a crispy fried dumpling, showing off his crunchy appeal. Now, Steamed Bun had to choose between the warm, sweet, honey-filled hotdog and the crispy, flavorful dumpling. After much thought, Steamed Bun finally made her decision and chose hotak. "I like hotak the best," she said with a smile. Although Dumpling was a bit disappointed, he smiled and returned to Dumpling Village. Hotak and steamed bun lived happily ever after, enjoying their lives together in a village filled with delicious foods. The girl who returned from the land of choice. Taeun, a middle school student, seemed just like an ordinary girl on the outside, but inside, she carried a heavy sense of responsibility. She had to take care of her younger sister and worked part-time jobs to support her family. Life was tough, but Taeun never complained and worked diligently every day. One day, on her way home after finishing her part-time job, something strange happened. It was as if the world suddenly stopped. Before Taeun could even blink, a mysterious creature appeared in front of her. The creature spoke like a human and informed Taeun that she had been chosen by aliens. Before Taeun could ask what that meant, the creature transported her to a mysterious planet known as the Land of Choice. In the Land of Choice, there was a tradition where each year a person chosen by aliens would solve the problems of that world. When Taeun arrived, the important event was already underway. And to her surprise, she was selected as the chosen candidate. Suddenly, Taeun found herself responsible for the fate of this strange world, and she began solving one exotic problem after another. As she did, she gained more wealth and power. However, deep down, Taeun never stopped thinking about her family back on Earth. Worried about them, she prayed to the gods. Perhaps her sincere prayers were heard, for the gods gave her an important choice: to remain in the Land of Choice and enjoy all the wealth and power she had gained, or to return to Earth and be with her family. In the end, Taeun chose to give up everything and return to Earth. To her, nothing was more precious than her family. Back in her ordinary life, Taeun continued to work hard for her family. Then, one day, a large, unexpected package arrived at her house. When she opened it, she found an enormous amount of money, a gift from the aliens. With that money, Taeun was able to cure her parents' illness and start a happy life with her younger sister. Even though she gave up everything, Taeun ended up gaining the most precious thing of all. The experience in the Land of Choice may have disappeared, but the courage and love she learned there remained in her heart forever. Shiu and Porong's Space Adventure. Shiu had been feeling bored at school and even at home lately. One day, the teacher noticed and asked, "Shiu, is something wrong?" Shiu replied, "I've just been feeling so bored lately." The teacher then said, "How about you think of 3 ways to get rid of your boredom? That will be your homework." Shiu went home and thought about it. She decided on 3 methods. First, drawing pictures. Second, playing with a friend. And third, taking the family dog for a walk. Shiu started by drawing pictures, but the boredom didn't go away. So, she moved on to the second method and went to the playground to play with a friend. There, Shiu met her friend Yunso, whom she hadn't seen in a while. "Hey, Yunso, Long time no see, Shiu greeted. Let's play together, Yunso said with a smile. They played together excitedly, but Shiu still felt bored. So she decided to try the last method, walking the dog with her family. Mom, Dad, should we take the dog for a walk? Shiu asked. Sure, her parents replied. The dog barked excitedly as it followed them. However, even after the walk, Shiu's boredom didn't go away. Shiu sat on a park bench, feeling a bit down. Suddenly, someone approached her. Hello? Shiu turned around and saw a small alien standing there. My name is Porong, the alien said. Hi? I'm Shiu. Shiu responded, surprised. Is something bothering you? Porong asked. Yeah, I've been feeling really bored lately, Shiu answered. How about going on a space adventure with me? It'll be really fun, Porong suggested. Okay, Shiu agreed. And they set off on an exciting space adventure together. As Shiu traveled through the universe with Porong, she had thrilling adventures. And before she knew it, her boredom had vanished, replaced by happiness. The Boy Who Danced with Magic. In a small village, there was a curious boy named Yonghyun. One day, while he was at the market, he met a mysterious man selling a potion that promised special powers. Curious, Yonghyun bought the potion and drank it. Soon after, his body started moving on its own. And to his surprise, he began to dance gracefully and beautifully. Yonghyun's dance amazed the villagers, and those who watched felt their pain go away, and their hearts fill with happiness. His dance brought joy and healing to everyone around him. As more people heard about him, they traveled from far away to see the legendary dancer and his magical performance. One day, the mysterious man returned and gave Yonghyun another potion. After drinking it, Yonghyun started to float into the air, dancing above the village and spreading peace and hope to everyone below. He traveled the world, connecting the sky and the earth with his dance, leaving behind a memory that everyone who saw him would remember forever. 4-frame life photo booth. My name is Subin, a second-year middle school student. Until that incident happened, I was just an ordinary student. 2 weeks ago, a plan with a friend got cancelled, so I decided to spend some time alone. I went to take some live photo shots, and there I noticed a new machine I hadn't seen before. Curious, I decided to take photos with that machine. After taking the photos, I liked them so much that I immediately edited them and uploaded them to my social media. As I was about to head home, I noticed something strange in the reflection of the door. My face had changed to the edited version I had posted online. I was startled at first, but quickly realized what had happened and rushed back to the machine. This time, I took even more perfect photos, edited them meticulously, and uploaded them again. Satisfied with my prettier self, I went home and fell asleep. The next morning, it felt like a dream. Everyone at school was kind to me, and I found myself wanting to live in that warm gaze forever. So, I started going to the machine every day, taking photos, editing them, and uploading them to social media. It felt like a constant stream of happiness. But yesterday, when I tried to take a photo, the machine ran out of film. I panicked and hit the machine in frustration, and suddenly a photo came out. I was relieved and carefully edited the photo before uploading it again. And then I looked in the mirror. This time, however, my face began to change into something unfamiliar. Had my desire to become more beautiful turned me into someone else? I no longer knew who I really was or what was real. Suddenly, I found myself questioning what it was that I truly wanted. Now, I want to return to my original self. But have I come too far already? That new machine is still waiting for me, whispering that it can make me even more beautiful. The Mystery of the Red Dates. One day, a 14-year-old middle school student named Tur was walking to school. On the way, he found a strange calendar in a pile of trash. The calendar had June 13th and 19th marked in red, even though they weren't holidays. Why are these weekdays in red? Tur wondered. Curious, he took the calendar home. The next day, on June 13th, Tur's friend Ern had an accident and hurt his leg, so he had to wear a cast. Ern, are you okay? Tur asked, worried. Ugh, I have to wear this cast, Ern said, in pain. A few days later, Tur looked at the calendar again and noticed that June 19th was also marked in red. He felt uneasy. On that day, his friend Lesh had a bicycle accident. Lesh, did you get hurt too? Tur asked urgently. Yeah, I fell off my bike, Lesh replied weakly. Tur was now sure that something was wrong with the calendar. He went to his friend Eden, who was interested in mysteries, for help. Eden, please help me. I found a strange calendar, and it seems like my friends are getting hurt, Tur said, his voice tense. Eden responded seriously. That calendar seems cursed. First, you need to soak it in salt water for an hour. Then, hold a charm and stay in front of a fire for 2 hours. But, no matter what, if you hear any noises, don't follow them. Tur did exactly what Eden said. He soaked the calendar in salt water and then started burning it. As time passed, he began to hear a creepy voice from somewhere. Help me! It's too hot! Help me! Tur was terrified, but he remembered Eden's advice and stayed where he was. Finally, after 2 hours, the calendar was completely burned. After that, no more strange things happened around Tur. A rainy day. On a rainy day, Kichol and his friend Youngchol were playing happily. The sound of the rain was like music to their ears, and the two boys enjoyed their time, soaked but full of joy. However, while Kichol briefly went to the restroom, Youngchol suddenly disappeared. At first, Kichol didn't think much of it, but as time passed and Youngchol didn't return, he started to worry. He went to Youngchol's house, but he wasn't there. Kichol also checked the academy Youngchol often visited, but he couldn't find him there either. growing increasingly anxious. Gichol even began to fear that Youngchul might have been kidnapped. The rain continued to pour, and Gichol's anxiety grew by the minute. Then he heard a faint ringtone coming from the direction of an old, abandoned house in the neighborhood. The sound was unmistakably coming from Youngchul's phone. Gichol followed the sound and headed toward the abandoned house. The inside of the house was dark and filled with an eerie atmosphere. With a trembling heart, Gichol slowly made his way inside. There, he found Youngchul lying unconscious. Although Youngchul had lost consciousness, he was still breathing. Relieved, Gichol hoisted Youngchul onto his back and tried to leave the house. But just then, a strange presence filled the air, and suddenly a ghost appeared. The ghost, with a horrifying appearance, advanced toward Gichol. Despite his fear, Gichol summoned his courage, knowing he had to save Youngchul. He began to fight the ghost. The battle with the ghost was intense. The ghost wielded great power, but Gichol fought desperately to save his friend. Finally, Gichol managed to defeat the ghost and safely carried Youngchul out of the abandoned house. As soon as they stepped outside, the rain stopped, and a rainbow appeared in the sky. Gichol took Youngchul home and made sure he was safe. The two friends decided to keep the events of that day a secret. They also made a firm promise never to go near that abandoned house again. The last inhabitants of Celes City. Long, long ago, in the deep blue sea, there was a mysterious city known as the Celes City. Hidden beneath the tidal flats of the South Sea, no one had ever seen the city, but its legend had been passed down through generations. People imagined Celes City as a dream-like place adorned with beautiful pearls and dazzling coral. However, there were two beings who lived in this legendary city. They were Hyejong, who loved razor clams, and Kyusong, who adored pen shells. Hyejong and Kyusong were shells that had grown up in Celes City, but they harbored an endless curiosity about the human world. One day, they accidentally encountered an old witch in a deep underwater cave. The witch, sensing their curiosity, offered them the chance to become human. But the price was steep. They would have to give up their hard shells, their very identity as shells. Hyejong and Kyusong were torn, but the allure of the vast skies, warm sunlight, and the promise of adventure in the human world was too great to resist. In the end, they accepted the witch's offer, and the magical light enveloped them, transforming them into humans. Now they left the sea behind and began new lives in the human world. Yet they still missed the sea, and on quiet nights, they would sometimes visit the beach to gaze at the blue waves. No one knew that they were the last residents of Celes City, and the city remained a secret of the sea. According to legend, Celes City still hides somewhere in the deep ocean, and whenever someone retells their story, a faint glimmer of pearly light can be seen sparkling beneath the waves. Hyejong and Kyusong now share the story of the city they once called home, like a legend, with others. The Scientist's Dilemma, between curiosity and catastrophe. I am a scientist. I lost one of my arms in an unfortunate accident in the past. Driven by the desire to regain my lost arm and earn recognition from others, I dedicated myself to the study of genetic fusion. Inspired by the incredible regenerative abilities of lizards, my research focused on combining my own genes with those of a lizard. That night, I went to sleep with a nervous heart after completing my experiment. The next morning, I was overwhelmed with joy and emotion when I saw that my arm had fully regenerated. I became eager to spread this lizard gene across the entire city, curious to see how people might change. One day, a Spider-Man came to visit me after learning about my plan. He was a person who had been researching spider genes, but had turned into a spider human due to his reckless experimentation. He told me that his rash curiosity had turned him into a spider human, and he had not been able to find a way to return to being fully human. He warned me that excessive scientific curiosity could doom humanity, and then he disappeared. I'm not sure if I can give up my curiosity for the sake of the world. How would be the world of lizard people? The Star's Light, a tale of friendship and loss. There was a girl who always felt sad and lethargic. One day, while walking to lift her spirits, a shining star appeared before her eyes. The girl stopped in her tracks and thought she might become friends with the star. When she greeted the star was surprised, but accepted her greeting. The girl smiled brightly and began talking with the star. "What's your name?" the star asked. "It's a secret," the girl replied. "We're the same age, right?" the girl asked. "Yes," the star answered with a smile. Thus, the girl and the star began to share their stories with each other. The girl naturally opened up about her family and her deepest feelings, and the star warmly comforted her. For the first time, the girl felt the warmth of someone else, and she was so moved by that light that she shed tears. That moment marked the beginning of their special friendship. As time passed, the girl grew brighter through her encounters with the star. The star made the girl laugh and sometimes cry, but was always a great comfort to her. However, sometimes the girl noticed the star shedding tears and losing its light, and she worried about whether the star was okay. "If something's wrong, tell me," the girl said, hugging the star tightly. The star quietly nodded while shedding tears. Summer was approaching, and the star said it loved summer. The girl was the opposite, but they respected their differences and came to understand each other more deeply. They spent time together, relying on one another. However, as the star began to lose more of its light, the girl grew increasingly anxious. One day, the girl had a dream in which the star lost its light and disappeared. Time passed, and on a day when the clear sky was visible for the first time in a while, the girl felt good from the morning. But when she checked her phone, she saw a missed call. Filled with unease, she immediately called back, but the star didn't answer. Rushing to the rooftop, the girl found the star there, dimming and losing its light. The star smiled one last time and, with an apology, disappeared. The girl held the star close, feeling sorry that she couldn't help. The star gently shook its head and left her with a warm smile before fading away. The girl, devastated by the loss of the star, fell into deep sorrow. Since that day, the girl struggled to find her balance, stumbling over stones and injuring herself often. She had lost the strength to resent or to get up. It felt as if an arrow had pierced her heart. One day, missing her star terribly, the girl went up to the rooftop and gazed at the spot where the star had disappeared. She shed tears, but then made a resolution. Though the star had lost its light, I will remember that light forever. Thinking of the star made her heart warm. The Secret of the Fantasy Shop. Once upon a time, in the days when tigers smoked pipes, there lived a small rabbit named Tokkengi. Tokkengi was a poor rabbit who often had terrifying nightmares. One night, Tokkengi woke up from another nightmare in which a dreadful monster named Karum appeared. Night after night, the same nightmare plagued Tokkengi, leaving her increasingly exhausted. Seeing this, her friend Tosuni recommended a special item called a dream catcher. If you go to the market in the lower village, they sell dream catchers. If you keep one close while you sleep, your nightmares will disappear, Tosuni said. Taking Tosuni's advice, Tokkengi immediately headed to the lower village. She found a place called the Fantasy Shop in the market, and the owner, Kiki, warmly welcomed her. Tokkengi shared the story of her nightmares, and Kiki recommended a special dream catcher called the Happiness Catcher. If you keep this happiness catcher close while you sleep, you won't have nightmares anymore, Kiki said. And the dream catcher was free. Instead, after having a happy dream, the energy from it would be passed on to the shop. Tokkengi returned home, placed the happiness catcher close to her, and slept peacefully, never having the nightmare about Karum again. Overjoyed, Tokkengi went back to the fantasy shop to buy more dream catchers. But when she arrived, the shop was gone, and a rice cake shop stood in its place. Surprised, Tokkengi asked the rice cake shop owner about the fantasy shop, but the owner said the rice cake shop had always been there. Confused, Tokkengi called her friend Tosuni. Tosuni, the fantasy shop is gone. There's only a rice cake shop, Tokkengi said. Tosuni laughed and replied, The fantasy shop only appears to those who have nightmares. Now that you no longer have nightmares, the shop has disappeared. Tokkengi smiled as she recalled her encounter with the mysterious shop. I wonder if I'll meet it again. Goodbye, fantasy shop. From then on, Tokkengi lived happily, free from nightmares and full of happy dreams. The Search for Cookie. A Journey Through the Sky and Beyond. Once upon a time, there was a young man named Tom who lived in a small village. Tom loved traveling, and his favorite adventures were those he shared with his best friend, his dog, Cookie. One day, Tom decided to embark on a new adventure with Cookie. This time, they would travel through the sky in a hot air balloon that Tom had built himself. As they soared through the blue sky, Tom felt incredibly happy. Cookie, isn't the sky so peaceful? Tom asked, and Cookie barked joyfully in agreement. But suddenly, the sky darkened, and thunder and lightning began to strike. A massive storm whipped through, tossing the hot air balloon carrying Tom and Cookie around. When Tom came to, he found himself in a strange forest. Where am I? Tom looked around and was shocked to realize that Cookie was nowhere to be seen. Cookie! Cookie! Tom called out. But Cookie was nowhere to be found. Although Tom was deeply saddened, he decided not to give up and resolved to find Cookie. Tom took off in his hot air balloon again and arrived at a desert first in his search for Cookie. He met a camel there and asked, "Camel, have you seen a white Dalmatian puppy?" But the camel shook its head and said it hadn't seen one. Next, Tom traveled to the Antarctic, where he met some penguins and asked them, but they too hadn't seen Cookie. Finally, Tom arrived at a vast grassland. He asked a deer he met there, but the deer also hadn't seen Cookie. Just as Tom was about to lose his last shred of hope, he saw Cookie in the distance, running toward him with some squirrel friends. Tom hugged Cookie tightly, tears of relief streaming down his face. "Cookie, where have you been? I was so worried." Cookie barked happily, as if to say everything was okay, and snuggled up to Tom. And so, Tom and Cookie returned home together, living happily ever after. Tom realized that as long as he had Cookie by his side, no adventure would ever be too frightening. The Mysterious Rabbit Hole. Deep in the forest village, there were 4 friends: John and Julia, who were mischievous, and Tom and Amy, who were quiet and cautious. One day, while playing at Julia's house, they discovered a small rabbit hole. Drawn by curiosity, they decided to crawl through it. On the other side of the hole, they found a gigantic tree. As they approached the tree, a rabbit suddenly appeared and spoke to them. "Hello, I'm Miro. Follow me." The friends were shocked to see a talking rabbit and hesitated, but eventually they decided to follow it. As they walked through the forest following Miro, a beautiful village appeared before them. There were houses made of candy, and rivers flowed with juice. The friends, enticed by the sweet temptations, ventured deeper into the village. There, they met a cute cat. "I'm Iga. Would you like to drink some juice with us? We have cookies and chocolate here too," said the cat, Iga. The friends decided to play with the animals for a while. But as time passed and the sun began to set, Tom spoke up. "We should go back. It's getting late." Julia wanted to stay and play longer, but she realized their parents might worry, so they decided to head home. Just then, Miro came up to them and grabbed them, saying, "Don't go! If you stay here with us, you can eat as many cookies and drink as much juice as you want. No one will stop you." Amy firmly responded, "The sun is setting soon. We really need to leave now." Suddenly, Miro and Iga became angry because the friends weren't accepting their offer. They stopped them from going back home. "Something's not right. This feels dangerous. Let's run!" Julia shouted. She led her friends in a dash toward the village entrance. Seeing Miro and Iga chasing them, the friends panicked and ran even faster. Fortunately, they made it to where they could see Julia's house. And when they looked back, Miro and Iga had vanished. Breathing sighs of relief, the friends returned to Julia's house and blocked the rabbit hole. "Let's never go to a place like that again," Julia said. "Agreed. We need to be more careful from now on," Amy added. After that, the friends avoided dangerous adventures and played safely together. Finding comfort beyond home. Iga always wanted to go home, no matter where she was. Whether she was at school, playing with friends, or even when she was already at home. The thought of wanting to go home never left her mind. One day, her friends asked her, "Iga, why do you always want to go home?" Iga carefully replied, "Home feels comfortable and safe. I feel uneasy in other places." Her friends wanted to do something for her. So, during breaks, they would find a quiet spot to read together or play Iga's favorite games, helping her feel more at ease. Over time, Iga began to enjoy spending time with her friends. One day, a friend asked, "Iga, don't you want to go home today?" With a smile, Iga said, "No, I like it here better." Iga's anxiety gradually faded, and her friendships deepened. She realized that wherever she could be with her friends was the most comfortable and safe place. From then on, Iga no longer wanted to go home, but was able to enjoy every day to the fullest. The puppy by the grocery store. On a cloudy day, a man left a small puppy in front of a grocery store and walked away. The puppy, inside a small and flimsy box, wagged its tail eagerly as it watched him leave. But he didn't even glance back and disappeared somewhere. The puppy quickly became disheartened. A store employee found the puppy and tried to care for it with a warm touch, offering it food, but the puppy seemed uninterested in the attention. As time passed, the surroundings grew darker, and it began to rain. Thunder rumbled, and the streets filled with the honking noise of cars stuck in rush-hour traffic. The puppy, experiencing these loud noises for the first time, trembled with fear. Alone and scared in front of the dark, lonely store, the puppy suddenly noticed that the surroundings were getting brighter. The puppy desperately wished for someone, anyone, to approach and comfort it. Then, from a distance, the puppy saw a person approaching while taking a walk. The person had a large dog by their side, but even that dog looked friendly. The person extended a hand toward the puppy, and the puppy, without hesitation, nestled into their embrace. The puppy wore the happiest expression, as if it had finally found the warmth it had been waiting for. Now, the puppy was no longer alone, and even the once intimidating big dog became a gentle friend. The puppy, with its new family, felt true love and was able to start a comfortable and warm new day. Billy appears right beside me. Billy always stays by my side and protects me. With Billy, even monsters aren't scary. Tonight, I was worried that another nightmare might come. But thanks to Billy, I felt calm. When Billy is by my side, I can sleep deeply without being afraid. Billy is my special friend and my brave guardian. Because of Billy, I can fall asleep happily every night.